Welcome back to another episode of What Are Your Thoughts? I have my co-founder with me today.
Nate Miller, co-founder, CMO, COO, and then
All of the
everything
above.
up above.
And today we're talking about ChatGPT Ads. Very relevant topic because as of now, it is open access to any and all advertisers in the US as of this week, I think, right, Nate?
Yeah, I think it was last Friday. It
Last
was
Friday,
released,
yeah,
so,
okay. So
yeah, or maybe 2
ChatGPT's
Fridays.
built their own ad platform, similar to Google, similar to Meta, and we're gonna walk you through the steps today on how to go apply for an account, how long it takes to get verified, how to create a campaign, an ad group, ads, how do they do targeting on ChatGPT, because that's really interesting. So we're gonna talk about that, and then at the very end, Nate and I are gonna give you our special insider thoughts on how do we think ChatGPT is going to perform? What are some of the weaknesses, strengths of the platform right now? All of the above. What are you excited about, Nate?
So before we even get started, I'm excited to have more competition in the space, just transparently. I feel as though Google's dominated for forever. But everybody should know that this is different than the Crio OpenAI ads that have been released. That is, they're two separate. So ChatGPT released their own. They still are doing the Crio ads with Crio, but there's like a minimum involved. ChatGPT doesn't have any minimums. So they're two separate elements. So if you do see Crio, that's separate from what they just released, a week ago.
Yep, exactly. So we're going to take you through all of the tips and tricks to set up your own account on ChatGPT. So let's get into it. Today's agenda, first going to talk about how to set up an ad account. So pretty simple, but we'll walk you through it and just some little things that you should know. How to open up a campaign and ad groups, and Nate's going to walk you through tracking and how to go through all of that. And then last, we're going to give you, again, our thoughts on ChatGPT. So really, really excited. So first and foremost, you're going to go to ads.openai.com and sign up. Sign up with your business email. It's very important to remember that when you're signing up as your business. You're gonna be asked for your name, your age, your business email, and then they're gonna walk you through a few steps on how to get verified. You're gonna enter in your legal business name, your website, and your industry. So very simple, basic things. But then, and this is really important, you need to select your country. So again, your business has to be located in the United States right now. They are opening it up to the platform up to other countries for right now. At the time of making this video, it's just the US. You have to select the advertiser type of a business only running ads for your business. So unfortunately right now, you can't be an agency opening up an account for your client. The client has to do it, and then they can add you to the account later. Then after all of that, OpenAI is gonna ask to verify your business. And that's when you need to give like your EIN, again, your website, your physical address. So where's your business located? And then application and review. So, Nate, how long is it taking for advertisers to get approved right now?
It took us, and we did it right when it first opened, and I'm sure there was a massive flood, but I would probably say 3 days, maybe to 7 days.
Yeah.
I would say probably within a week span,
Within
you should
a
be
week,
approved.
yeah, if it's more than a week, we're actually telling multiple people in the same business to sign up just in case, because we have seen it where like someone signs up later and gets approved before the person that signed up beforehand. I think there's just a really huge queue right now. So we actually got our Banfana agency application approved in I think 2 days. So it can be super quick, and hopefully this is something that's happening a lot more quicker as we go on. But that's it. That's how you sign up for ChatGPT ads. Pretty straightforward. And they have changed the platform a little bit since it started. So let's go through part 2, which is the ChatGPT Ad Manager. So what you're seeing on your screen now is what that ad manager looks like right now in beta. I'm pretty impressed, Nate. I know it's like pretty bare bones so far, but to have an ad manager already it's pretty nice for advertisers.
Yeah, I think it's wonderful. And it does seem like they took a bit more time than just a few different levers. And I think they're going to expand on it further. But the platform, I would say, has capabilities to grow. It is still very rudimentary. It doesn't look like Google Ads and has a bunch of different tabs, but they've even set up a menu bar that you can access and view different levels pretty easily. I'm hoping that they keep on working on reporting, because reporting is pretty bare bones still
Yeah.
too. But I would say, yeah, the
But there are
platform was
some
good.
things that I really like about it. We'll go through in a second. But just from this screen, you're able to create campaigns. You can add your billing, your logo. Really important to add your logo. In the settings is where you can add users. And then obviously right here, you can go ahead and create conversion events within the tools as well. So let's talk about campaign creation. So when you go to create a campaign, you're gonna have two options under objective: clicks or views. If you choose clicks, then you can set a bid. So we're gonna talk about bids when it comes to ad groups. But here at the campaign level is where you're gonna select a daily budget, your campaign objective, start date, and then a conversion event, which I'm really excited about, Nate. I mean, the fact that they already are allowing for conversion events, purchases, signups, I think is tells me that one day that you're going to be able to optimize these campaigns for conversion, and maybe not even that far in the future.
Agreed. Yeah, I think that's, I mean, even in looking at their documentation for pixel setup, I think it's pretty straightforward. I mean, again, you'll have to know some code. It is code heavy, but the capabilities are all there. And I love that that's already been included with the launch of it. You usually don't get that until way later. For some of the other competitors, if I go to Apple Search Ads or anything else, I have to like do some deep diving to figure out what's important, what's not, and they kind of laid it out in a pretty easy
they're
fashion.
laying the foundation,
so, I mean,
which
again,
is nice.
Yeah,
That's cool.
definitely
Ad group creation. So this is where you're going to set your CPC bid if you're optimizing for clicks. You're going to select your final URL, your website URL, and then you're going to give contextual hints. So Nate, do you want to kind of dive into why contextual hints are different than just like keyword targeting on Google?
Yeah, I would say for me, it's been more of like a audience kind of signal. It's the same kind of variation as Google audience signals that they're heading towards. You're not necessarily you're giving it a clue to begin with, but then it's going to go and do its own thing, from what I'm understanding. So it really is a fun little adventure that we're all going to kind of go down, because you're going to give it some context clues, but then it's going to figure out the rest.
It's definitely going to be an adventure. And I want to pause there because there's a lot of videos out right now on like how to run ChatGPT ads. No one knows. No one has any data back on this. So we're all kind of going out there with our own perspectives and ideas on this. So don't feel like you're behind the eight ball or anything. Like we're all trying to figure out, hey, what's the best way to structure ad groups and contextual targeting? And we've got some ideas for you. So in this screenshot, you're going to see an example of Banfana, because we're running ads on ChatGPT right now. You can do direct keywords in contextual targeting. So you could think about, like, we're a Google Ads agency that wants to target e-commerce brands, right? Looking for Google Ads partners. So that could be our contextual targeting. You could do problem and solution. So you could be really specific, like law firms that want to scale local service ads. Okay, so or e-commerce brands that are researching on how to improve CAC, right? So you could be a little bit even more like problem solution based with your contextual hints, or break out ad groups by direct keywords or competitor keywords or problem solution keywords, or those types of things. So I'd say be creative with it. Definitely A/B test. In this example of the screenshot we're going to show, we're going to use an example of a real business. So like we have a client that sells allergy relief, a nasal spray, as an example. So here you can see an ad group with a problem solution, leaning towards a problem solution, a contextual hint. So here we've just described the problems that a customer might actually be facing when they would need a nasal drip. So you can think of that as your contextual hint.
Yeah, I think I genuinely think that this is a very cool concept, because it does feel more like a ChatGPT conversation. Like you put a prompt into ChatGPT, and then you're basically giving it that hint. And I think that this is the part that's going to matter the most when it comes to context hints, is that you're gonna have to craft that, and that's gonna be really the main sauce that people are going to try and crack and say, hey, if I phrase this in a particular way, I end up seeing better results. Now, again, maybe it's just an initial result, and then it goes into something else, and it literally takes its own wheels, kind of like PMax. You basically give it, a little bit of magic, and then all of a sudden it's like, I'm going to go over here and then find conversion. I'm going to go over here and find conversions. But right now, I think this is probably the biggest lever that we have to go with the rest.
Look at Winnie, come on.
Got a little visitor.
Let's go, guest appearance. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think actually in the beginning it could be even better to go broad. Like let's get some traffic in. Let's see how these things are, how it's converting in general. Um, as opposed to going narrow, like even in our industry, like Google Ads agency, we've been running pretty broadly so far for a few days, and like there's just not a ton of volume out there with a pretty aggressive bid. So we'll see how it develops, but yeah, I think it's open for your interpretation and your testing.
Yeah.
Let's talk
I
about the
also
last
think
piece, which is, oh yeah, what's that?
one more piece. The last piece I was going to say was that right now I don't think that there's a lot being done around like what categories are allowed versus not allowed. So I think this is a good time for the businesses that maybe are policy restricted, et cetera, to explore, because I don't necessarily know if that's being cracked down on or what's going to kind of happen. So I think that's an open space right now for a lot of testing.
Yep.
And then a lot of it's going to be, reworked later. But I think that's a really good point to say, hey, if you've been struggling on Google or something else, I mean, this could be a good avenue to test into.
And I was seeing even like there's a ton of affiliates signing up as well. So
oh yeah,
floodgates are opening. We'll see what happens. Next up, after ad group, so campaign, ad group, and now ad, you're gonna look at, and this is where it's actually, I think, pretty bare bones right now. You get one title and one description. So you can still do ad copy testing.
Not that much.
And in fact, they'll ChatGPT will tell you that they might truncate some of your copy depending on the placement. So think about that as well. And then you get one square image. So for us, we just included our logo. For brands, it might be an image of your product, might be a lifestyle image, your decision. And then you can obviously put the final URL. So there is room to do ad copy testing, but the ad copy right now is limited to title and description. Next, we're going to talk about tracking in pixels, because again, I think it's really cool that this has already been released by OpenAI. Nate, do you want to take it away in terms of what can you do and what can't you do?
Yeah, I feel as though you can do quite a lot. So if your business does conversions for product conversions or things like that, you have capabilities for that. If you're doing subscriptions, it has capabilities of tracking that. If you're doing signups, leads, all of that, I think so long as you include the pixel on your website and you have the direct link going to your website, you should be able to track a significant amount. And if you don't match one of those categories, which I don't know if that would occur, I think that you could even like do some sort of mapping to those events. So they give a massive list of different events, but overall, what are you going to need to do? You're going to need to grab your default website tag. You're going to copy the data source. We have a short little video that we can also include to kind of walk you through the process, but it's relatively simple. There's no direct integration yet with different Shopify tools, but I'm sure that will exist. But right now it's just one basic header website pixel, and then there's going to be a secondary one when you're doing a particular conversion event.
Yep.
So whatever the conversion event is.
So your data source is like your website tag, your conversion event obviously needs to fire on the page or the event where the event's happening, like a registration. Yes. One, just shout out, beware of, is that the initial website tag for the data source actually has a conversion event at the bottom. You're gonna wanna remove that. So you'll see it says like registration completed. We have a screenshot here, customer action. You're gonna wanna take that way and only put the web event, the conversion event tag in on the page where the event's happening. So
that's a great call out.
Yeah, I noticed that I was watching a different video today about that, and it was called out. So shout out to I can't remember his name, but we'll give him a credit in the description. Let's talk a little bit about part 3 of this video, which is where ChatGPT ads appear. So here's a screenshot of someone as an example prompting for an authentic Mexican dinner party, ideas around recipes and whatnot, and they get an ad below the response. So this ad in particular is for hot sauce. So again, this is where you could think about where your contextual targeting might come in. So it's not a shopping ad. It's not really a display ad. It's kind of like a Google search ad with an image, but it's its own thing, right? Like it looks a little bit unique in the wild. And I think there will be more ad units that come out, direct integrations with things like Shopify. That's probably coming down the line, right?
100%. There's no doubt about it. And I do think that it's really interesting to understand where this placement is. So it's actually, if you scroll down to the bottom, that's where the placement exists. Usually most ads are located at the top. Sponsored ads for Google located at the top. Microsoft ads. I think they're testing this out to begin with. Maybe they'll change that up in the future, but I thought that was an interesting placement. I mean, I wasn't expecting that for
Poor
ChatGPT.
Sam Altman, they keep clipping him saying that ChatGPT ads would be like a last resort, and now it's just like it's already live. But that's okay. I mean, it's a business that has to make money. ChatGPT ads are actually only shown to users on the free plan in the lower cost Go plan. So right now it's not for the business plans or the Plus or Pro plans. So that's who sees the ChatGPT ad. I think that'll change as well. I think everyone's going to get ads eventually. In the future, just based on ChatGPT's revenue projections and how they're going to be able to hit that. I think they're going to have to expand that out. And last question, Nate, what is your take on ChatGPT ads? Will they work? Will it be stronger inventory? What do you think?
I think time will tell. I love the idea of having, again, I said this earlier in the video, competition to Google Ads. Microsoft Ads tries to come close, but they're only about 5%, maybe 10% of the market. I love the idea of giving these tools a run for the money, because if you just have one tool that's gobbling up, they can determine the CPCs. Right now, we are seeing traffic, I would say, increase, over the course of time on ChatGPT, and we are seeing momentum kind of in full swing, but it's still a very small chunk. So if you look at the amount of Google organic traffic you're getting on your website versus the amount that you're going to be receiving from all of the different AI websites, Claude, Anthropic, ChatGPT, it's just a small section, but it is still growing. So I do think that it's in the early stages, and it could eventually become the norm, but I think take it with a grain of salt. I just love the idea of getting another platform, being able to test it, being able to see if I can, especially with conversion data. Oh my gosh, sorry, I'm getting excited here. Especially with conversion data, I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah. I haven't seen too much come out on the UTM front. So I know a lot of platforms use UTMs, Triple Whale, Northbeam. I haven't seen all that much. I've seen a little bit on the Crio side when launching ads with Crio that passed through, but I also expect that to come out. So I don't think that that's going to be left out of the pie, but again, it just got released. So, and they released it with enough information where I'm like, oh, there's enough to work with here.
Yeah, I think my initial gripe, and listen, a lot of people had this gripe, but they came out and they're like, we have an ad platform, it's open to select advertisers, and it's a $60 CPM. And it's like, okay, it seemed like they were positioning themselves for premium enterprise businesses. It's okay, they had just released. And then they were like, okay, we're gonna come out with the CPC model, $4 to $6 CPCs. Well, that's kind of like double what you typically get for at least our e-commerce lead gen clients and what you typically see on Google search or shopping. So I'm like, okay, well, ChatGPT is double. So does that mean the conversion rates are double? Because that's the only way that that's really gonna back out. So I think my initial complaint was, listen, how can it be that ChatGPT is so new and already more expensive than Google? But I'm going to walk those claims back because I don't know what the conversion rates are. I mean, ChatGPT might convert 2x, 3x, 4x better than Google. The quality of traffic might be a lot better. It could be incremental. So I think there is the possibility of that. And like you, I'm just excited. I'm excited to test it for our clients. I'm excited to have new inventory. And yeah, go after new customers. So we'll see.
Yeah. So I do have a couple of points to make sure people know about when launching ChatGPT ads, is that your conversation can't see the ads themselves. So if you get hit with an ad and you ask for more about that particular product, the conversation won't know how to, I think, react. It might give you a default answer of oh, we can't respond on ads because it's a different signal. So it's two separate signals. I thought that was an interesting point for a lot of people to understand, because it leads me into the second point, which is if you are a low-rated product, let's say, and you ask ChatGPT for the best products and products you maybe should avoid, you could still potentially show up on that listing if your product is a low-rated product. So you have to be careful about thinking about maybe the types of questions that might populate your particular product, and really, again, at the end of the day, trying to make sure that your product is ranked highly. It's been talked about pretty well on things like Reddit and other areas, because ChatGPT pulls from all these different sources, and it may pull organically from Reddit. And if you have a lot of negative flack on Reddit, which, I mean, Reddit is a massive source of negativity as well as positivity, but the people are brutally honest.
Yep.
So if it has a lot of flack there, you want to be careful. So I think that those are probably good
Totally
points.
agree. And last note, and we'll end it here. I completely agree. And you made me think of this idea of, like, we were talking about as an agency the other day, which is people go to LLMs to find unbiased, unabashed research. So they're asking for lists of brands that are the best in class, right? Your best shoes for running, your best shoes for hiking, your best leather handbag, as an example. And if you're not in that list, but then you appear as an ad, it might actually end up doing your brand a disservice, right? I mean, the only way to know is to test, but then think of the opposite situation, which Nate just said, which is, what if you have been working on your AEO and SEO strategy and you're in that list and you're in an ad? Then it's a multiplying factor, I would assume, that you're in both places. So yeah, I think there's a potential that it could work against you, like you said, Nate, but it's also potential that it could work really well for you. So maybe the merging a little bit of SEO, AEO, and SEM strategies again with the ChatGPT Ads platform. But with that, we're going to sign off. We hope you got a lot out of the presentation today: how to set up an account, how to create campaigns, ad sets, and ads, and two opinions from two co-founders. What do we know, Nate? And we're just
nothing.
We're just out here living.
We're just having fun.
Well, thank you for watching another episode of What Are Your Thoughts? Click like, subscribe, and we'll see you here next time.